How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Dave B back here with another video. Now this video is going to be another trade that I recently took in, and I want to make a video about this one because of the response I got from the first one. That was the one that was what was it, a 2013 Ford Explorer with 358,000 miles on it, that people said in the comments 500 was a lowball offer, 500 was way too little for that vehicle. There were comments about how that vehicle would sell for $2,000 to $3,000. There were comments that the client was stupid for taking 500. They should have took 1,000. We gave somebody $500 for a vehicle that had an airbag light on, it had a check engine light on, it had 358,000 miles on it. So quick update on that vehicle. That vehicle, since that upload, has been through the auction twice, and it still has not sold. So you got to look at it from the dealer perspective. We gave the customer $500. We're going to pay a $400 auction fee. So we're into this vehicle for $900. Now, I think that we could all agree that the vehicle is only worth what somebody is willing to pay for it. So the customer that traded it into us and got that $500, that was a good value to him for a vehicle that he no longer needed, wanted to deal with. Now we sit on it, we're into it for $900, and right now it's worth $0 based on the fact that nobody at the auction is bidding on it. Another thing a lot of people said is that we can easily sell that vehicle. You put it on Craigslist, somebody mentioned 2,000, somebody mentioned 5,000, and you'll get that price all day. But really, would you feel comfortable selling a vehicle with 358,000 miles on it, an engine light, an airbag light, a ripped driver's seat, damage on the passenger door? You know, this is a vehicle that served its purpose and it's time to go. It's not something that we're going to stand behind. And I guarantee you, if a dealership sold that vehicle to somebody, even at $500, and something happened to that vehicle the next day, that same person would be back at the dealership trying to argue their point on why the dealership should stand behind that vehicle, which would have to be sold as is. So in any event, I'll keep you posted on that one. And today, let's talk about my new trade, and we're going to do it a little different. We're going to go over this vehicle that I have in front of me here that I just took it on trade yesterday, and I want you to be the dealer. I want in the comments you to tell us, after you hear everything about this vehicle, what would you put on it as far as a trade value, and we'll see what people think. So without further ado, I give you the 2006 Mercury Mountaineer. First things first, we jumped inside the vehicle. We get one key. I taped it to my key tag here because the bottom part is broken, so the ring no longer sticks on the key fob. So you do get one key with your vehicle. I want to turn it on real quick here just to get the mileage. You'll see that, whoops, we got to hit reset. We got to hit reset, reset. There we go. We have 184,527 miles on this vehicle. So with 184,527 miles on it, this being a 2006, we're coming up on 2023, so call it 17 years old. This vehicle was driven on average just under 11,000 miles per year. Now the person that traded it into me, they bought this car secondhand. I think he said he owned it about 6 years. He bought it, it was just around 100,000. So he put 85,000 miles on in the 6 years that he was driving it. Let's start it up. Let's see how it sounds. It's got a weird, you hear that? You hear that? Definitely making some sort of a weird sound. And if you look on the dashboard here, you'll notice it does have an engine light on, also a tire pressure light, which is probably no big deal. But the engine light is something that, you know, you'd probably want to figure out what that is if you're planning on selling this to somebody else. On a trade-in, doesn't really matter. We're sending the car right to auction. Now let's go outside, we'll pop the hood, we'll see how she's running. One quick thing, I never really cared for this door handle style, because to open the door, you open it here, right? But you can't grab it here to close it. You have to put your hand in here to grab the handle. So what I'm imagining, while these vehicles were on the road and they were parked in parking lots, if you were on any kind of an angle, the weight of this door, I can almost guarantee you would swing open and hit the car next to you if you were close enough, because if you open it quick and you can't get to the handle, it's too late. The door is already too far out. I think this is a bad design. The hood pop didn't work, but we were able to manually lift it. That's good. All right. So here we are. This is a 4-liter V6, pumps out 210 horsepower, 254 foot-pounds of torque, This one is linked up with a 5-speed automatic, and it does have all-wheel drive. The gas mileage on this vehicle was 13 city, 19 on the highway, which gave you a combined average of about 15 miles per gallon. As you can see, we have somewhat of a rough idle. We also have a lot of noise coming out of this engine, so there's definitely something wrong. I'm going to turn it off, and we're going to take a closer look down here. You see, what I wanted to look at down here, yeah, we got a lot of oil and a lot of seepage, you know, coming out of this engine here on the left-hand side. Let's take a look on the other side. A little harder to see down in here. You can see that it had a bit of a rough idle. Again, this is a 184,000 mile vehicle that's 17 years old. So obviously it's to be expected that there's gonna be some issues. Now, cosmetically, we have some small issues as well. We got some bumper damage here on the front, you know, normal swirl marks and scratches, pitting on the wheels. You know, this happens on alloy wheels from that generation. You know, so that sort of stuff is also to be expected. Body panels aren't horrible. We do have some rust building up here along the wheel well. This is pretty cool because back, for those who don't know, in the late 90s, early 2000s, these clear lenses were like all the rage. Altezas, or I think they were called, or something like that, where you would take off the red lenses, the red taillights on your car, replace it with white clear lenses, but they would have red and amber bulbs, that sort of thing. So it looks like Mercury caught on to that trend and put them on their car factory. This also has a little small trailer hitch, which I believe, if I remember correctly, these were capable of towing about 3,500 pounds, you know, as equipped with this V6. Passenger side, again, not crazy bad as far as any kind of major damage, just normal type stuff that you would see, you know, on a vehicle of this age. Inside, the vehicle's not all that bad. I mean, it's got leather interior. It's showing some signs of wear. This does have a second row bench, and then you also have a third row in this vehicle as well. When that third row is up, it left virtually no cargo space, but I'm imagining it would be nice to have the extra seat if needed. When it's folded down, which I'll show you in a second, it gives you plenty of cargo space. Up front, normal steering wheel type wear on the leather wrap wheel. One thing I did notice is that the radio works. However, the screen doesn't work anymore, so there's no way to know what station you're on. You just kind of have to seek stations and find what sounds good to you. This does have a 6-disc CD changer, which is somewhat of a thing of the past. And actually, ooh, we just stalled out, or we ran out of gas. No, looks like we stalled out. Make sure you put that in your appraisal. Vehicle stalled while appraising. Back to the center stack here. Again, well before things like backup cameras, that sort of thing, which is actually funny because as I was driving this around before, I'm using my mirrors and my eyes always directly go to where that backup camera is because you're just so used to doing it now. You have the big, huge shifter here, which completely blocks your climate control settings. Although, actually, when you're in drive, it opens it up a little bit and you can have all your climate settings. Heated seats, it does have down here, which is nice, and memory seat on the driver's side, which is pretty cool. So, you know, Mercury back in the day being a higher level of Ford, it gives you some nice luxury features and things for its time. And here we go again. This is on low fuel, and I'm on a bit of an angle here, so maybe it is starving for fuel. Anyway, let's take a look around the rest of the vehicle, kind of look at the back real quick, and just see, take that key out. Back seats, again, condition not all that bad. You know, leather looks pretty decent. These seats will fold down with multiple steps to get into cargo mode, just like that. Other side will do the same thing. And then when you come in the back here, you can lift this up and you can see the back seats are folded down as well. Or, like I said, you can lift them and then it leaves you a very small amount of cargo space behind the seat, but you know, nevertheless, you get a little versatility there for passengers and cargo and that sort of thing. So this is pretty much it. This is the 2006 all-wheel drive Mercury Mountaineer. Now, what I want you to do again in the comments is let me know. You just appraised this trade. You run the dealership. How much would you give somebody for this vehicle? 184,000 miles, 17 years old. rough idling engine with possible stalling situation. I will tell you that the previous client, in talking to him when they were buying their new vehicle, had said, you know, it got to a point where they had to decide, do they put a few $1,000s in this vehicle to fix it, or do they buy a new vehicle? So when you hear something like that, you automatically know, okay, something's up, because they're looking at the fact of them having to put a couple $1,000s into it to fix it. So there's definitely something going on with the vehicle. As a dealership, we're not gonna fix it. We're not gonna look at it. We're not gonna plug it in to actually see what the check engine light is. We're gonna send it directly to auction. We're gonna pay our $400 auction fee. And then at that point, we're gonna hope for the best. So in the comments, how much would you give the customer for this car? Before you go, real quick, it looks like it did stall out twice, because I'm driving it right now to the back lot to park it, and it's got fuel in it to get me here. So it's not like I had no fuel in the lines and it was stalling out for that purpose.